Okay, so recording video. Video requires a bit more planning because we have this multi-track system. There's 2 video and 2 audio tracks here. The video and audio tracks are tied together. So, we need to think, it's called a non-linear video editor. All that means is that we can put our clips in any order and then deal with the order of them later. So we import them over here, we drag them down to here, and then we play with the timeline. I'm going to show you how to do it all. And at this stage, I'm only using a mouse. Later on, I'll show you how to do the same thing with the jog shuttle control. The first thing we need to do is to import the clips that we want. Now, if you watch my videos, and you obviously do because you're watching one now, you know that I always start with an entry sequence. The first thing I've got to do is go and get the entry sequence. Doing it. Just that. The first thing we have to do is import our to get in the location. You'll notice everything on my computer is stored in a very rational way to do with times, dates, projects. So the entrance sequence is stored in here. It's the MP4 one I want to import. I want to do it at 30 seconds, so that's fine. This is Kdenlive, of course, the Linux's free video editor. I say Linux is one, it is also available for Windows and Mac, so I don't think there's any excuse for not having a go at it. It's a nice, easy program to use. It's also very comprehensive in the way that we also want the exit sequence. Well, they're imported, they take a second to import. We now need to add tracks that we've just recorded. Here, come on. I'm going to bring it in from the file manager. I'm just having difficulty getting it to go over. So that's importing the video file from our camcorder. And then I'm also going to import the audio file, which is in OGG format. Kdenlive doesn't import MP3s for some reason. So we just work in OGG video. It's actually a higher quality thing. So the first thing we're going to do is to put the title screen on the entrance video. Pull that down and you'll see it brings in a video file and an audio file. Using the mouse wheel you can scroll through. If you hold control down and use the mouse wheel you can do this. You can also do it using various zoom controls you can do. And we can preview the clip up here. Might be a bit loud. By holding the mouse up there we can see the audio, so you can get an idea when sound comes in. Same down here. Now as soon as I start doing something I like to save the project. So we'll call this built in my demo. I was saving it as a Kdenlive project. That allows us to store, it doesn't store all these files, it stores the location of all these files. So be sure not to move any files while you're working on them. The next thing I want to do is to have a title screen. Basically right click in this box, add title clip. I've already selected a colour that I use. I think with graphics, the most important thing is to be consistent. If you have different graphics, different colours on every video, it's going to look crazy. So you really need to be consistent, especially through one video. I try and be consistent on every video I do. So I click the text button, put out some text off, and we'll call this built-in audio versus external mic. Okay, we'll highlight all of that by pressing Ctrl and A. Going to center justify it first, and I know you said that hasn't moved. Up here we can select, do we want it on the left of the screen, the right of the screen, or the center? Or do we want it at the top, bottom, or middle? Then you can do rotations on it and all manner of things. So should you choose to rotate or zoom, you can do that. And we want it to show for 5 seconds. I don't, I want it to show for 10 seconds. And then click OK. So that is now in our list. It's not very legible because of the colours I've used. You can rename the clip. It's already named it on built-in audio. Earlier versions of Kdenlive don't do that. They name them Title 1, Title 2, Title 3. So we bring this onto the timeline. And we could just do it there like this. Sorry, I'll do that again, then you can see what actually happens. This part has already got a fade on it. And that will stay on for 10 seconds. What is going to be a bit slicker is if we move it up here, then go to Image Adjustment, Fade In. That will fade in for 3 seconds. So if I push that to there, and if you've got snapping turned on, this. As I pull that over, see how it stops. Do it slowly enough, let's expand it a bit. Again, I'm using the mouse wheel to expand. So that's the point that we want to line up with this. So I just put the mouse near it and pull. Should stop near it. Works better with the start and end. But the start and end it'll definitely do. So we'll just line that up there. So now one will fade out as the other fades in. If we hover over this clip, it'll tell us how long it is. We know it's 10 seconds. So I want it to fade out. I'll put a fade out on the end of it. And then I can pull the end back. So it's just literally there for a couple of seconds. So it's at full opacity. It's the opposite of opacity. Yeah, it's at full opacity for a couple of seconds. So that's that bit. Save regularly. I get into the habit of using the Control and S buttons. I'll do it with the mouse so you can see what I'm doing. And now we're ready to put our clip in. Now our clip is still going to need a little bit of treatment. So the first thing I'll do is I'll bring in the video one. Then I can see what is going on. I'll bring it into this track. And we'll keep it separate from there for a moment. And I'll move to the start of it. And we can see a couple of things. So Just by expanding it and looking at the audio, there's quite a gap at the beginning. So we can drag this and put it, and I'll leave a fraction of a second gap there because you're going to see me there with my mouth open. That's not the best, is it? Okay, we'll start from there. So we can now pull this down here, and we could fade into it. If we choose to, we could drag fade in down. Notice that every time I drag a control, it appears here. So if I wanted the fade to be shorter than 3 seconds, I could just type in 1 second. That will now faded in 1 second. Okay, don't worry if things look a bit jittery in the preview pane. It does happen, and it doesn't necessarily appear in the output. I want that to be 3 seconds. And then maybe we'll match it with this. Let's have a look. Now that's roughly matched up with that 3 seconds. What happens now? Well, that's pretty slick, actually. I like that. I'm going to save it again. Every important move that you do, save it. All videos, well, all software can crash at some time. There's nothing worse than losing 3 hours of work, forgetting what you did, loads of edits. You know, you really don't want to be doing that. So I could play the whole thing, but I can see at the end there's a massive gap here in the audio. Let's have a listen to that. Okay, you don't want to see me turn off the camcorder. That's totally unprofessional. So let's bring this timeline here, and I'll just leave that little gap again. This time we're going to cut it. So these tools we have here, this one is the selection tool, which you can adjust which track you're working on and which section of a track you're working on. So if I hit the cut tool, I can cut there. And it's already highlighted it for me. If it wasn't highlighted, I'd get the selection tool and I'd click it. Make sure before you delete it that you have the right section highlighted. And I'm going to right click so you can see what I'm doing. You can hit the delete key. And again, if there were any horrible gaps in here, so I dithered there. So let's just say for the sake of argument I want to remove the dither. Known for my dithering. I like to appear confident, competent on. So we'll cut it there. I'm going to be cheeky and say, oh, I'm going to cut it all the way there. That's the cut tool again selected. And you'll notice that it's cutting the video and the audio tracks together. So the reason that it's cutting them together is that they are grouped. If you right click on them, you can ungroup them. If I ungroup them, I could delete the audio only. Do Control Z to undo. I could delete the video only. There's the undo up there. You can use Control Z for that. But I actually want to delete both. So if I highlight one and press the Shift button and highlight the other, group the clips, or press Ctrl G, then when I delete them, it will delete the audio and the video. Slide that up there now and play the last bit. So again, there's a big gap here that I don't necessarily want to be in the final production. And I would spend a lot more time making these decisions, to be honest, if it was I was doing this for a production. So we can make this decision. We cut there. select the bit in between, pull those back. Oh, I've done something I shouldn't there. Let me undo those cuts and I'll show you for what. Something that we have very important that we've forgotten to do. We've got our fade there. And what we need to do now is to bring in our other audio track. When we bring it down onto here, you will notice that you can see where the sounds occur, and you can zoom in and you will be able to hear these. So let's have a listen to one only. Let's listen to the bottom one. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but the audio was synced there. If I just brought it in there, it's not out very far. Let me just demonstrate it for you. So quite often when you import the clip, it would be desynchronized like that. A good tip for you when you first start doing these type of recordings. If you're going to be recording with a separate microphone and a camera, is to get the performer or yourself to go 3, 2, 1. When you see it on the audio recording, you won't be able to mistake it. Because believe you me, if you've got music or complicated audio tracks, you will not have a clue where they are afterwards, the timing of them. Professionals use a thing called timecode recording that takes the guesswork out of it. Oh, of course, the other problem is this. If you had both audio tracks on, it would sound like this. I'm sorry about the jitter, it only does it when you start. It's because the reason it's jittering is because my computer's busy, and the reason my computer's busy is I'm recording the video as I'm doing video editing. Now that's quite a lot of load on the CPU. Okay. So that's a nightmare. So if I go in here, and we've got these twin peaks, and you notice they're not identical, and there's a couple of reasons for that. We've processed this audio, and we haven't processed that audio, and that's quite intentional for this demonstration. So now, okay, they just happen to be perfectly matched. Now it takes quite a bit of practice to do it that accurately first time, and boy have I had some practice. So we can rip the beginning off there. The reason I've taken it from this point and not where the sound starts is these can now be grouped together. I'm not going to group them because there's more work we need to do. And it's always good if you've got a long recording just to go to the end and make sure that they're still in sync at the end, because they do slip sometimes. Now, I'm partially deaf and I'm a lip reader. So I'm very good at reading people's lips and tying the audio to it. You'll see quite a few YouTube videos where the audio and the lips are just fractionally out of sync, and it can throw people. But I've had a lot of practice recently at editing videos, and it's a knack you'll develop. So we now need to do some trickery with the audio. So these two tracks are grouped together. First thing I'm going to do is to ungroup them. The reason is I want to deal with the audio tracks separately. So let's have a listen to what I say, and I'm going to mute this track first. This is the direct audio from the microphone. But let's listen to the camcorder audio, and let's respond to what I said. Okay. What are the first? So when you hear me on, now you can use cuts a number of ways. I want that audio after this point to not occur. So I think it's fairly obvious when you listen to me on, and then I'm going to get a separate microphone or whatever. I'm going to mute this audio. There's a number of different ways you can do it. You can turn the sound level down, but if it's a whole, and I want it to be off for the whole duration, which is absolutely fine. What you can do is you can disable the clip, and you can do that whether it's audio or video. So if you have multiple camera angles or multiple video tracks, you can just right click and disable. That'll work fine. Sometimes you want that audio in the background, so you could actually adjust the volume level of it. Audio correction, gain. I could put gain on there, and I could adjust the gain with that so that it's dropped down and illegible there, or I could increase it if it was quiet on that section. Come back to that in a minute. I'm not going to do it in this case. I've disabled the clip. Now then, so for the first section I want that one to be audible, and in the second section I want it to be not audible. Sorry, it's the other way round. Notice that the cursor has to be just to the right of where you want to cut. So now I want to disable this audio. When you hear what we've got now, save it. I did save it, I pressed Ctrl S out of force of habit. So let's listen to me this time, and it'll change over from one audio to the other. So that took a little bit of planning when I recorded the video. I had to decide what I was trying to demonstrate. And I knew I needed a separate microphone, and I had the camcorder recording as normal. It is obviously possible to plug a microphone into your camcorder. So I could have plugged the pink microphone. Yes, it's my girlfriend. I could have plugged the microphone into the camcorder and recorded directly. We've done this on a number of hair videos. And depending on if you have an audio mixer and you've got the right level of control, you can do it. It saves a bit of messing around, and it means you don't have to worry about lip syncing afterwards. I prefer to do it separately for a number of reasons, but there you go. Now then, we also want to explain to the viewer what's happened. So the viewer has no idea what we actually did other than I said it. So if I add a title clip, the text editor on this leaves a little bit to be desired, but with a bit of practice you will get used to little shortcuts for using it. So again, I'm sent to justifying it because there's multiple lines. So I don't want it to look like that or that, I want it to look like that, and it's your choice, but that's how I want it to look. This one will centre it in the frame, and it's too long. Now then, by hitting the right place, you can't see the cursor. You just get your. It depends on the colour scheme you've got installed. I can't find a colour scheme that I'm happy with that shows the cursor up. So you just get used to doing it blind, but you can actually compile these titles and save them, or you can use an external subtitler or title. You can even make your titles graphically in GIMP and import them. There's lots of different ways of working. I like this one, but you can do it any different. So switching from camcorders, built-in mic. to external microphone. Let's just recenter that. Yeah. Let's be consistent. If I've used the word mic once, I'll use it again. So that's up here. And I'm going to pull that to here. And again, I'm going to do a fade in and fade out. Go to image adjustment, fade in, drag that onto the timeline. You notice when I get it over, it turns to a plus sign. Okay. Now, because this is quite a short clip, I'm going to do it for 1 second. This for 1 second. Because it's just letting you know what's going on. I'm going to center that there. Save my project by pressing Control S so you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so just for the sake of clarity, I'm going to chop the audio there because when you render this video, which I'm going to explain to you in a second, anything that you have that is overhanging is going to increase the length of the video. In the same way that we could have added many more audio and video tracks on here. I could insert a track. I want it to be under the A2 track. I know you can't see the digits there. That is the 8. These are V2, V2, V1, A1, A2. So I could put an audio track or a video track. I could put an AV track, which is audio and video. It is also possible to record directly into Kdenlive. I don't do that. That's up to you. So if I added another audio track here, when I render this, if this was full of blank nothingness, it would extend the length of the video. And the other thing is that the more tracks you have when you render it, the longer it takes, even if they're empty. So delete track A3. Always be careful which one you delete. Save project. So all we need to do is, we may require a title screen on the end. So we go. Okay, nice simple thing. Thanks for watching. Pull that up here, and again, do an overlap, do a fade in. Just shows you how long these time sequences are. I want this to be longer. I want to fade out on that. I want to fade out on my video. And I don't want to fade out on the audio in this particular case because I'm still speaking. Okay. Now this in a minute is going to go to the next section, but let's pretend that this is the end of the video. So we then go to the exit sequence and I can pull in the exit sequence and a fade in. Would do if it worked. And I can pull that to there. So now our end okay, so that's the end of our clip. If we have a massive difference in the audio level, which we do, we can go to gain, drop it onto there and pull this down. You can use your mouse wheel again, raise it 75%. Still a bit loud, let's go for 50. That's better. Yeah, so as with anything to do with editing, you quite often go over stuff time and time again. You'll make fine changes to it. And, you'll find as you get more and more experienced with it, you get better and better at it. So, we've now got our video, and let's imagine that we played it end to end on here, and that we're happy with it. Another thing I wanted to show you quickly, if I select the entrance sequence and press play in Clip Monitor, sorry, I've got my desktop speakers far too loud. This will only play this clip, so I can just look at that clip. If I then want to have a look at the exit clip, look at the exit clip, put the cursor in the right. This is just looking at the exit clip. If you want to see everything, you have to go on Project Monitor. Sometimes it'll auto select it for you to the right one. Sometimes it won't. If I go Clip Monitor on that, I'm only going to see that graphic and nothing else. Another little tip for you. I'm going to do it on Clip Monitor, just to be awkward. And you can't see that because it's on the other monitor. You can't see it. If you click that, it goes to full screen, but I've got a 2-monitor setup and it goes to the other monitor. Not completely sure how to get it back. You can also zoom in and out on this as well if you need to have a look at some details. There's quite a few. That's to move toolbar. This moves the sequence. This actually moves the part it's going to play. But there's all sorts of extra facilities that are really difficult to demonstrate because I'm recording the screen. That messes things. So we've got our little video. Let's just say that that's complete. It's not complete. It's just a little demonstration. We now have to decide where it's going to go. By that I mean, is it going to YouTube? Are you going to put it on a DVD? Yes, people still do that. Are you going to put it on a USB stick? We need to decide what format we want to do it in. If you had 4K video, you could be really ambitious and format it in 4K. I'll warn you, editing 4K video is extremely difficult. You need a heck of a fast computer. I've got a fast computer and I really struggle to do 4K. So all my stuff is in 1080, 30 frames a second. That's the other thing that's important. When you're recording your sequences, pick a format and stick to it on all your cameras and recording devices. It reduces the amount of lost frames you get in the conversion. So there's generic HD, and I'm aware of this format, but I haven't used it, WebM. Generally speaking, MP4, which is also known as H.264/AAC. H.264 is the video format and AEC is the surround sound video audio format. That'll do 1080p no problem. I don't think MPEG-2 will. I think it has limitations, but MPEG-4 is the main one you want to be thinking about. This is MP4 H.265 because it's 4K, so it goes up from H.264 to H.265. Again, very specialist if you're doing 4K video. You've got the equipment, go ahead and do it, But the chances are if you've got that sort of equipment, you won't be sat here watching my video. There's some other old video formats, VOD formats, you can master straight onto a DVD. Flash video. Flash video's dying this year, it won't be supported from December 2020. The old MPEG-4, MP3, DivX compatible. That used to be very popular for uploading to websites. And Windows Media Player. No, you don't really want to be doing those. And you can export the audio only. It'll happen a lot faster if you turn all the video tracks off, but you can just export the audio if that's what you need. And then there's a few other lossless formats. and then you can export it as a sequence of images, which is something my girlfriend did recently. She made a video and did it as a time lapse. We want MP4, that's all we're bothered about. And I'm going to store it in the right location, which is in OBS videos, even though it's not an OBS video. Click render to file. It shows as it started. It shows it's going to take 1 minute 30 seconds. So inevitably I'm going to speed this section up. Okay, so the video is now finished rendering. Don't mean my eBay parcels being distracted. So, first thing we do is clean up. That removes all the temporary files that this created. So you want to see what you do. Here it is. It's the pane. There it is. So that's interesting. It's come out at 43 megabytes. And the longest video, that was 60 megabytes was the video that went in. And the audio, it's half a megabyte. Oh yeah, it's come out a bit bigger, but it's got graphics and titles and stuff. So here's our rendered video. So we need to have a look through it and quality check it before we put it on YouTube or TikTok or wherever. We're looking for nice smooth transitions, listening for horrible gaps in the audio, pops and crackles. That's a slight problem with Kdenlive, that the titles appear in black first. So if they're not on a black background, they tend to appear in black text and then change to yellow. It's a minor annoyance. Okay, I obviously pulled the wrong part in there. But the video was nice and slick, nice smooth transitions, no missing frames, no people's heads popping up from the bottom of the screen. It does happen. So yeah, quite a quick video, but yeah, that all works. Fades out to a nice pleasant conclusion at the end. So that's basically basics of using Kdenlive. And it is absolutely the most basic. There's loads of tutorials online that can get you to a more sophisticated level. For most of my videos, that's all I use. Good luck with that, and we'll look at a bit more at some stuff shortly.